Good morning and welcome to another episode of A Migrant's Journey, a series that is for documenting migrant journeys, be it migrants, skilled migrants who are coming out here or international students. Um, we think that it's all nice and rosy and dreamy. It's all what's the word that say flowers and rainbows, I think so. Uh, we think it's that way, but unfortunately, the initial struggle is not always great, and it really questions your self-esteem and self-doubt kicks in. The initial struggle at least. That being said, there are people who get jobs in a couple of weeks. The next day after they land here, but they are minority. I mean, they're small in numbers. Most of them take months to get their role here. So make sure that you're prepared. If you're planning to move to Australia or any other country for that matter, make sure you're prepared to, or you know what ground reality is and prepared for it. So, good morning to all our viewers. We have about six viewers watching us live on LinkedIn right now, and I'm sure people are watching us on YouTube as well. So, if you're watching this live or if it's a replay, please leave a comment. Uh, the, I need noise from you. The more noise you make, the more people watches this, and the more happier I am. So, please do make some noise. And also, this is the 15th episode. We have already had 14 amazing stories. Please go check it out in my YouTube channel. You can binge on all the 14 episodes, and please do subscribe the channel as well. I pulled out some stats yesterday as well, and 77% of my viewers on YouTube are not subscribers. So please hit that subscribe button. So it's just to make me happy, nothing else. And plus, you'll get all the notifications of future videos, and you can watch past videos as well. So today, uh, I'm interviewing a different kind of story. It's an international student. He's just completing his first year. He's just completed his first year, or just completing. Let's hear that from him, anyways. And but he has already secured multiple couple of internships and couple of part-time roles, which unfortunately didn't go through, I think. But let's hear directly from him. And the objective here is again to understand what is it that international students can expect over here and how to uh, overcome that. Again, this is also applicant for migrants. Every story that I share is equally applicable for international students and skilled migrants. Don't think that, hey, these are all IT guys. I'm a mechanical engineer. It's not applicable for me. I don't talk anything domain specific here. It's all stories and it's generic and it will be useful for you. So let's kickstart today. Again, good morning to all our viewers. Make some noise. Let's invite Sujith today. Hi, Sujith. Good morning. How are you?
Hello, Vinesh. Hi. How are you?
Good, good. Unfortunately, Melbourne is going to shut down today again, which is sad, but that just means I'll have to keep doing these online events. So that's
That's all.
uh, that's good. So let's get straight into the things. Who are you and what do you do?
Awesome. So, to put things in perspective, let's get back to 2016. So, I graduated as an engineer from India, and I took up a job as a software engineer in India. And slowly, I was looking to diverge into different spectrums.
Mhm.
And the journey was such that I liked talking to clients. I liked building conversations. So slowly I took up a role after that as a sales consultant. Now, when that phase happened, I was trying to branch out, and then I was trying to reach out to a lot of other things. So eventually I ended up starting my master's program last year in July 2019. So right now I am a master's of marketing student at the University of Melbourne.
Mhm.
It's been 1 year here. It's been a fantastic journey so far. I really love the concept of talking about a product in the public space and trying to have a conversation going,
Mhm.
and also catering to the various businesses all across the world. So it's one platform where I feel that, yeah, I have the knack for it. I am going towards the direction that I want to, and I'm actually following my passion. So yeah, that's who I am, a
That's very
marketeer.
that's very interesting. Um, I often, I mean, it's a completely different world out here, and compared to India. You have a lot of responsibilities, a lot of exciting stuff. I mean, if you're up for it, there's tons and tons and tons of opportunities over here. So let's get into the beginning. Uh, so once you decided that you're doing a master's in Australia, what preparation did you do before arriving here?
So I had done a ton of homework before coming here because I was very sure about the finances and everything. I had to be very clear about these things. So I did my research, I think, 8 months prior to coming here.
Hmm.
And I was reaching out to people in Australia actually, like trying to figure out what the international student life is like. So there was this particular group on Facebook called as Internation,
Yeah.
and I'm sure most of our international community would relate to it. There's this person called Devashri.
Yep.
He runs his own channel called Internation. So that particular channel was very informative. It was like a roadmap for me to like understand. Okay, these are things that happen, and these are some cultural shocks that I should be prepared for. So I did my homework and I did like a little bit of research on the kind of courses that I'm intending to like look at. So and back in my home country, we don't have that flexibility of exposure to a lot of different courses. So here I wanted to like literally take my time out and actually see where and what I can become. I mean, the intended outcome of this. So I did my homework. I every day tried to like reach out to at least one person. If that was not possible, at least I would drop in an email to just get a reply.
Mm.
I would also send out emails to professors just to understand like what is that you get out of this course
Yeah.
and what are the kind of challenges that a student faces. So I did my homework, and I think back in June I was all set. I was like prepared. Okay, 1 month to go. Let's just get all my things. I mean, checklisted and all everything up to date. So I did my homework and I came here. But to be honest, even after like a good set of planning days, I would say that there were some things that if I had known earlier, I could have done it the other way around. But okay, that's okay. That's what experience
Yeah.
is. But
So was
yeah,
this June 2019
yeah,
or
it was June
2019?
29.
So
Yeah.
it's about the year, your first year anniversary here in Melbourne. Congrats.
Yes. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
It has been fantastic. I mean, that's how it is. You plan out a lot of stuff, you plan out a lot of things in life, but it turns out something different, and it's
Absolutely.
good. It has to be
It's
different.
always good. So I think the interview that I had yesterday reflected the same thing. The theoretical knowledge is completely different from what you actually face. So how much ever you prepare, yes, listening to these stories will make you prepared for what is to come, but your journey is yours. No one can predict how it goes, right? There will be something new thrown at you always. So looks like you did good preparation. Good on you for that. So what happened? I mean, how was the first few weeks or few months after you arrived in Melbourne with regards to the culture, with regards to your university, which is completely different compared to what we are used to? So what was your experience over here?
It was mind-boggling. It was completely fascinating. It was like I'm in a dream world or something. It's Melbourne is it's so clean. Everything is so spick and span. People are so nice. Like okay, this is somewhere else I've come into. Like I was having the like a gala time, like a kind of a complete vacation kind of mode. I
Yeah.
felt like that something for the initial 1 month since we didn't have classes and all. So the first one was more about exploring the place and just getting to know how things work here. It was like so challenging that had to figure out like okay, this is how where I should walk, this is where I should go, this is
Mhm.
where the tram stop is and everything. I mean, it took time. A
Yeah.
couple of weeks it took time, but then we all set in. Fortunately, I had a good group of friends that I hung out with, and they are currently my roommates also. So we had this kind of a rapport building that we used to look out for each other and we used to like give each other advice on how to go about doing things. So I was fortunate in that sense. Apart from that, uni was fascinating. I mean, when I went into the campus for the first time, it felt like Harry Potter all across. I mean, the buildings were like, oh my god,
Yeah.
awesome. And
You're in Unimelb, I think.
yes,
Yeah.
I'm in Unima.
Yeah.
It's all fancy, it's glary and all of that, that's for sure. But at the end of the day, you've come here for a purpose. So I was just trying to like reach out to my faculty and trying to understand how things work here. Because when you come from overseas, right? The education system there and here is quite different. There's a lot of differences in how they teach. Here, it's more about the experiential learning, but back in India, it's more about the rote learning concept.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say this, but this is how it is.
All of us know that, so it's fine.
So that's how it was. And trying to blend in here, it takes time. You have
Mm.
to actually involve yourself in subjects. You have to actually involve yourself in doing things because here it's about storytelling.
Yeah.
It's about like in a sales role, for example, I'm giving an example here. In a sales role, people try primarily they sell a product by giving a story or a pretext to it. Here, it's also the same thing. It's about selling yourself in the most amicable way possible.
Mm,
And to do that, you have to understand the art of selling, I feel.
absolutely.
So,
So
yeah,
I completely agree to that. I mean, one thing that is a big difference here is that you have to do stuff for yourself, whatever it is. No one is going to spoon feed you. No one is even in university. No one is going to say, "Hey, go and attend this lecture, this lecture, this lecture, this lecture." I think you have the choice to attend whatever lecture, whatever time you want to. So even if you're not an international student, if you're a migrant, the common question that I get, "Hey, I applied for all these roles. I'm not getting a call. I've been waiting for weeks. What do I do now?" No, that's not the way it works. You have to chase them down. You have to do things. If you just sit and hope that things will come to you on a platter, no, sorry, that doesn't happen. So
true.
be ready to sell yourself. Even if you're really, really bad at sales, you have to be good at selling yourself. That's probably the future. Whichever world you're in. I mean, even if it's in India, probably that will be the future. Just that Australia is a bit more ahead on that and how things work over here.
For sure.
Yeah. Now, I also think that you are a bit lucky to land in a bunch of good friends because I hear, especially for international students, the group that you get into is critical. If it's a group that say, "Hey, let's keep doing some casual jobs," you kind of get sucked into that. If it's a group that say, "Hey, let's go for networking events, let's do that, let's do this," then it's you get sucked into that as well, even though it's not your comfort zone. So make sure that the advice you take from your first group, which you'll be close for a start, is very crucial over there. Now, a lot of news stories over here. You've already enthusiastically accepted those stories and that experience. With regards to job search, how was your early days? Which I mean, when did you even start job search? Because I see most international students thinking about job search after graduating, but you're just doing your first year and you already have a lot of experience on that. So at what point did you start your job search journey and how was your initial approach? I'm sure it has evolved over time, but how was your initial approach?
So before coming here, I was doing my homework as well for job search.
Mhm.
So I was again reaching out to people and asking what are the kind of jobs that you get.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that I connected with were very like stating for the fact that no, you end up only getting jobs at a supermarket or
Yes.
you get jobs at these like retail places and all of that. I was okay with that idea. I was not like hesitant or anything. It's just that I was a bit more like you put it as a rebel thing, but I wanted to like do something that I really am passionate towards.
Mm,
I've had 3 years of work ex, so I thought like let me leverage on that in some context at
mm,
least. Yeah. So I when I came here, initial 1 to 2 months, it was more about understanding and curating my resume.
mm,
Now, this is a very keen concept and it's a very keen initiative that a individual has to take after
mm.
coming here.
Yeah.
Your cover letter and your resume, it has to be catered to the Australian context. I'm pretty sure most of us do that.
Mm,
But what we tend to not do is, okay, after you've done that, you should also reach out to the recruiter, anyone in your network or whoever you have interacted with. Try to send out your resume. Try to take in points what they feel about your resume. Like it can be even from like a simple spelling mistake to the way, like if I've written about some organization that they cannot correlate with,
mm.
how do I represent it in the on the resume?
Yeah.
So I was doing that kind of a kind of grounding when I
Mm,
had come here. So initial 3 months it was a struggle. I would not deny that it was a struggle because negatives are there. Here there are a lot of negatives, there are a lot of positives. Now it's on the individual that what he looks at and what he wants to get out of his experience. But I was very persistent that what I want, I should be getting it.
mm,
So I used to reach out to my university's employability center, and I used to like spend sessions with my counselor just to like understand where I'm going wrong. Can you just point it out? Even if it's in a key selection criteria question, just tell me. And then slowly I started to like understand the assessment techniques here used in trying to understand an individual, a candidate. And I was just going through the steps. Like first is your interview, then a behavioral interview, then your final HR interview. So it's just understanding and deciphering all of this. It took time. It wasn't like, okay, one day I got to know all this and next day I started applying and I got it. No, it took time, at least a month or two. I got a first response to one of my job applications in November, and I had gone in for the interview. From according to me, I did well,
Hmm.
and I came out of the interview 1 week after. I got a mail stating that okay, I'm rejected. Fine, okay. I reached out to the recruiter. I just wanted to understand where did I go wrong. The recruiter was very kind enough to actually set up a call with me and point out, this is where you went wrong. This is how you should have said this answer. So I was going wrong in behavioral interview, to be honest. The way I was like phrasing it, the way I was representing an answer, it wasn't accurate enough.
Yeah.
And after that, I started doing my study on how to go about giving interviews and how to like I reached out to people. Basically, you have when you are in a pit hole, you should always make sure that you should reach out to people.
Hmm.
You shouldn't be like there and just blame yourself. Oh my God, why is my life like this? Why is things going wrong with me? That's not how it works. You should be able to voice out, even if it's a conversation with another person. Do that,
Hmm.
reach out, have a conversation going. So I did that. I did my part. I reached out to people who have got jobs here just to understand how it is to like face an interview like this. How do I curate my answer? And it took practice. I think I invested 1 to 2 months in practicing how I should speak and how I should do things. In Jan, I landed up a role in the university. It was a alumni relationships role. So it was a coordinator role wherein I had to reach out to the university alumni for like fundraisers and donations for the university. So that was the first job that I landed up in the university.
Hmm.
I was happy that okay, fine, I got something. That's the one thing. Apart from that, I had also applied to an internship. It was a digital marketing role. The It was a startup company, but it was one of Google's partners.
Hmm.
So I was very fascinated by what they were doing in the tech space and the digital space. So I reached out to them. I applied and I had a conversation. I was called in for an interview. Now that was an interview. I felt like okay, I could really like learn a lot from, because I felt like that was like the primary stages of having those assessment exam questions and all of that. But after that, the kind of interview interaction I had with the CEO was quite different from the ones I've experienced so far. It was more like, you know what, you tell me your story, I want to listen to it. So I was like, okay, on the
Yeah.
spot, I'm like, okay, what should I do?
Yeah.
And I decided at that juncture, it's all about your spontaneity. I
Yeah.
mean,
Absolutely.
how original can you be?
Hmm.
So I just told my story right from the heart, and he was impressed. He gave me the role. I was taken aback. I was like, okay, fine, things are going good, and I should be happy about it.
Hmm.
But then cut down to March
Hmm.
when COVID struck in.
Yeah.
Everything went on suspension. I was a bit saddened because whatever I worked for all came like literally crashing down my life. And it was that low point in your life.
Yeah.
Then again, you are in the spit hole and you want to get out of it.
Hmm.
So that's when I like kept on like looking at other things, tried to work around what I have right now. What I have right now are my skill sets. So
Hmm.
what can I do better now is maybe work on it and perfect it. Once the economy bounces back in, I should be ready for that. So I slowly, it didn't that also took some time from March to April. It took me 1 month to like okay, figure things out a little bit.
Yeah.
Then from April again, I started applying. Fortunately, I got through a live in project which I'm currently working on right now.
Hmm.
It was a university kind of a consultancy project.
Hmm.
So I got in that. Apart from that, I reached out to another person. Now, this person I had actually met through a networking event, and I had a discussion going with that person about digital marketing and what are the new technologies that are coming in the space. So I reached out to that person just for like just to get to know what that person is doing right now. I mean, what is his business doing right now? How is that progressing during COVID time? Just reaching out.
Hmm.
And during the call, she just said, "Are you available for like? I mean, are you available right now to work or anything?" So I was like, "Yeah, I am." So when is your exams and all getting over, and the conversation went very like free flowing.
Mm.
And at the end of it, like she said that I'm actually looking for a person for digital marketing intern role. Would you be interested? Said yes, why not? So I grabbed that opportunity, and right now I'm working on that as well.
Excellent, excellent. So
So
it was very interesting where that came from. I think I remember, if I remember right, you said you met that person in a meetup in last December, is it?
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
So that's how networking works, that's always what I say. The people that I'm talking to, for example, Sujith, he could be a CEO of some company 5 years down the lane, and if I need some help, I can just jump to him. That should be the level of intention when you're networking to people. You never
True.
know when it'll come back. Will it come back in a day? Will it come back in a week? Maybe not. But sometime down the lane, it'll definitely give back. And this is a perfect story explaining that. So you're doing two internships right now, are you?
Right now, yeah.
Okay, that's excellent. And you can sell, you can actually feel the storytelling. I mean, I just kept shut here and he just kept going and going, going. That is what you have to do as well. If you're a storyteller and if you're a good storyteller, people will just listen to you. Let's check if you're a good storyteller right now. If you think
Okay.
your story, Sujit's story was good, please put a comment as yes, it was an excellent story. We'll get a live feedback later on. But excellent story, Sujit. Thanks for sharing that. I mean, the points that you mentioned, how to get into how networking can be an important part, how being on top of things can be really good, how not being rejected. That's one big thing. When you get rejected, you take it personal, you go into your own hole, and you think, why me, why it's happening to me, and you just get sucked into that. That's not the point. That's not doing good for anyone. So you have to come back, you have to keep building your skills, you have to keep building your foundation. Another thing you mentioned is you reached out to the employability services of your university. This is something I hear often. People, international students say, my uni does nothing. There is nothing in my uni compared to with regards to employability services or coaching or anything like that. I was talking to someone, I think it was it's Monash, I think, some career advisor or something of Monash. I don't remember which university, and they were shocked to hear this. As in, do you mean that I don't work enough? They were talking in that line. Again, the point here is, if you want it, you have to go chase it down. No one is going to say, hey, this is seminar happening, hey, you have to meet this person to get advice. No one is going to come to you and explain that, hey, this is how things work. You have to ask the questions, you have to find out. At this point, I'm sure that every university has tons and tons of resources with regards to employability services and career advisors as well, who you can just directly talk into. I mean, I haven't taken the services directly, but this is what I hear. So please make use of that instead of just at the end of 2 years, if you say, hey, I didn't get anything, did you ask the right questions? Did you go and talk to people? If you haven't, then it's your fault. It's not the university's fault. It's not anyone else's fault. This is different from what we are experience in India. In India, you are spoon fed. If you don't get that attendance, you are done. If hey, this seminar is happening here, you have to go and attend. Otherwise, something will happen tomorrow. Right? That's not the way it works. So thank you so much for sharing your story, Sujit. It was wonderful. So I think you've covered most of the questions I've asked in that single question. You have explained what people should do out here, how people should approach out here. So one last question would be, I think you've been kind of a regular on my network walks, and
Yeah.
then you attended my meetups as well. So now ball is in my court. So I'm asking about me.
Sure, sure.
So, as you're a good storyteller, what were your thoughts about that meetup, that environment? What different mindset did it bring to you and the people who you talked to? Because I'm sure it was a completely different experience out there. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Perfect. First of all, Vinesh, thank you so much for creating a platform actually for job seekers. That's like a big thing here in Australia. And as far as my experience with the networking walks that you have created, was that I got to interact with a lot of people. Now these are like techies from like experiences ranging from 10, 15 years. So their perspective on things. Even like I interact with a lot of marketeers. I got that exposure to interact with different genres of people, like people from different walks of life. So that was one thing that I got exposed to, and I was missing out on that here. I mean, talking to only uni students wasn't my go-to. I wanted to like branch out and like hear different stories on how people actually make it in Australia. And your meetup was one such platform where I could just like go in, be myself, and have a conversation with any random stranger. So it was so good, and the way the curation of it, like completely coming down to Burke Street and having a walk towards Galleria
Mm.
and having a conversation going for 15-20 minutes could be a completely unknown person.
Yeah,
That's like your I mean, you're on the spot. You should just have a conversation going, and it's on you how you make it interesting.
absolutely.
So this were my learning experiences was phenomenal, and also you as a mentor, I think I did reach out to you to ask some questions regarding Vinesh, how I should do this. So you were kind enough to actually help out in that sense also.
Hmm.
So I did get a lot of feedback. I think Karthik
Yeah.
Subaya, he had we had a very good chat about how industries are changing, how he moved from US to Australia,
Mm.
and I got a lot of connections. I mean, the kind of connections that I made through your networking box are actually now my good friends.
That's
So
nice.
thank you so
No
much,
worries.
Dinesh.
So this was about networking walk. What about my meetups, the monthly one?
Meetups were fantastic. I think I attended only two of them,
Yeah.
if I'm not wrong, and it was informative because we got a one-on-one chance to actually have a conversation with a recruiter,
Mm.
and we got insights from them as to what the industry is seeking out and how you should present yourself in
Mhm.
front of that industry. So a lot of times where what we think is right is not right,
Yeah.
because things run a bit differently here, and you should align yourself in that sense. So I actually had quite interesting conversations with Joe,
Mm.
which is one of your recruitees who come for
Yep.
that walk. And apart from that, I think Naishat Gadani,
Mm.
he actually had a session at our university as well.
Nice.
So his podcasts are also something I follow every now and then.
Hmm.
So even your podcast is something I follow.
Mm.
But like they kind of like know what the market is. They if you reach out to them with a clear intention that I want to get this role, could you give me a kind of a roadmap for it?
Mm.
They'll not explicitly say that to you.
Yeah.
They'll at least give you a guidance, a direction. You should look at this, and this is where your starting point should be. So that itself is a lot in the making. So it's from there where you want to take it to.
Absolutely. So I,
So
I think any event or any meetup or any person, what they can do is, hey, point you at a direction, but you have to walk the walk. It's your journey in the end. No one can hold your hand and take you through the path or whatever it is. So that's why you have to start, get inputs, talk to people, and that's very important. By the way, today is July 9th. Although I'm not doing those physical meetups, that I'm doing the online version of those meetups, and it's today. If you're watching this live, or if you're watching this before, say 3 p.m. on July 9th, you still have time to register. Please reach out to me. But if it's too late, it's too late. It's a monthly event, though. I'll be doing it every month. But this month, that is July's, is today. Please reach out to me ASAP if you want to be a part of it. Otherwise, thank you so much, Sujith. It was wonderful having a chat with you. If in case people are thinking, hey, why did I introduce international student who is just in his first year into this interview, you probably got the answer. It doesn't matter what you are, if you're a fresher, if you're doing a first year, if you have just landed in Melbourne. It all depends on your story and how inspired you. Everyone thinks your story is rubbish, that unfortunately that's what people think, but your journey, what I say is, just just think that, the place you've been maybe 3 or 4 months before, there are at least 4 to 5 people waiting at that juncture for advice or looking, okay, what should I do next? So if you can share your story and make them avoid the mistakes that you did, that's a big thing. Do you get anything out of it? That's a different story, but it's a big help for them, and that's what this is all about. Um, so if anyone wants to connect to you, so LinkedIn is the right way.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
so please go ahead and connect to Sujith on LinkedIn. I'll take a look at the comments later to see how you did, Sujith. Hopefully, we get some good comments. And
Hopefully, fingers
if
crossed.
you have any questions for us, please leave a comment on LinkedIn or YouTube. I should warn that LinkedIn comments can get lost, so we might miss it. If we miss it, please send a message directly to us or leave a message on YouTube, which is more visible to me, and I can immediately respond as well. Otherwise, thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you so much for waking up and watching this again. Thank you, Sujith, for your time today and your story. It was wonderful. I'm sure you have a long journey to go ahead. I mean, you just started. So we'll probably hear you again sometime soon in this story. So thank you so much, Sujith.
Thank you so much, Vinesh.
All right. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Bye bye.